Hello, everyone, and welcome to Yourstory India MSME Summit 2021. For the last year, BFSI, contactless payments, and digital payments for MSMEs has been the talk of the town. We've seen so many MSMEs, right from our local kiranas to small and medium manufacturing businesses, adopt digital payment solutions. And we have seen multiple banks and startups work to drive the cashless economy for MSMEs. However, Indian MSMEs still have some way to go till they have gone completely cashless. To describe how BFSI solutions and digital payments acceptance among MSMEs has evolved since the pandemic hit us, we have with us today an exciting panel of two business leaders who work day in and day out with MSMEs across India. First, we have Sumit Agarwal, the founder of Vyapar. Sumit, a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks. Thank you, Rishabh.
Sumit's company, Vyapar, and its app have built a mobile and desktop application to manage business finances, collect payments on time, keep track of inventory, generate GST reports, and a whole lot more. I recently checked that they have over 5 million downloads on the Play Store. So this is massive. Sumit, a big congrats, and once again, pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Secondly, we have Anand Bajaj, who's the CEO of PayNearby. Anand is a frequent reader and participant of Yourstory events, and his company PayNearby is a division of Nearby Technologies, which is a hyperlocal fintech network offering digital financial and non-financial services to various underbanked segments of the population. He empowers retailers at the first mile by offering digital services such as Aadhaar-based banking services, bank savings, bill payments, card payments, insurance services, and more to local communities. Anand, an absolute pleasure to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Rishabh. Look forward to an exciting conversation. Thank you.
Before beginning today's session, I'd like to give a special shout out to Lenovo and Intel, our title sponsors for India MSME Summit 2021, and our co-sponsors, AWS and TransUnion Sybil. Their coming on board has helped us make this event a success. And with that, let's begin. First, I wanted to ask both of you, tell us a little bit more about your business, your products, and how things have shaped up ever since the pandemic hit. Sumit, let's start with you.
Sure. Thanks, Rishabh. Thanks for the great introduction. So coming to MSMEs, I'll brief about the products, right? So Vyapar is a simplest to use billing, inventory management, accounting, and GST solution for MSMEs. If you look at the Indian market, more than 70 to 80% people in India are still using paper pen to manage the business. And that's where Vyapar comes in. Vyapar helps them digitize their end-to-end process, starting from billing to the tax, which is a complete cycle for a businessman. We have been there in the market for 3 to 4 years now. And as you rightly mentioned, over 5 million downloads, and it's a huge customer base that is using and liking the Vyapar product on a day-to-day basis. Coming to the benefits, or I would say the impact on the pandemic, we have seen a huge difference in the mindset of the people. Before the pandemic and after the pandemic, we obviously have seen a sharp curve in the number of people who have joined the platform to become digitized. So I think pandemic will not only help them, become more stable, and they will start thinking from the risk assessment perspective that if something that happens to my business, how will I sustain? It will give that, a mindset to the MSMEs. Along with that, it has also inculcated that thought that I should be ready for the situations and be digital, because they have understood now that being digital is super critical to continue running my business even if the shop is closed. So from my side, I mean, we have seen a huge jump. Apart from the lockdown, when the lockdown happened, then obviously the businesses, shops are closed. So the businesses go down. But as soon as the lockdown opens up, we see the jump in the business altogether. So yeah, I mean, that's how our experience has been with the MSMEs.
Thanks, Sumit. Anand, a quick word from you and how things have been in the past 1 year.
Yes, About nearby technologies, in 17,622 postal codes of India, today 500,000 retailers operate every month, whom we call digital pradhan. These are shop owners, and we are a B2B2C platform with a vast distribution network. The trained and trusted retail partners cater to the citizens. About 150 million unique lives have been touched by us since inception. And we process every month about 5,500 to 6,000 crore of sachetized trusted financial services. So when government gives it in the bank, our retail partners are the ones who give it in the hand of the citizens. They operate like an extension of a banking counter. It's a combination of a rock solid technology platform with high availability, military grade precision, and a far reaching, deep reaching distribution network. The fact that we are integrated with all the banks and NPCI for high performance and concurrency of 2 million transaction, 2.5 million transaction a day, this makes us by default the largest agent banking and a merchant acquiring platform in the region. Pandemic has been it has had a positive impact on our line of work, because many ATMs you saw were shutting, non-operative, and our retailers were able to, at a kirana shop, give 2 kilo aloo, 1 kilo pyaj, or 250 rupees cash. So that's the grocery interaction now. And at the same outlet, you are able to get insurance, sachetized insurance. You are able to buy products from Amazon in assisted mode. You are able to get small micro loans, or be it a travel ticketing that you want. All of that are available as a multi-pronged service, which are integrated on the platform.
Yeah. Thanks, Anand. I wanted to ask both of you, since both of you work on a daily basis on ground, you guys talk to so many MSMEs, so many local kiranas. And even before the pandemic hit us, there was already this sense that digital adoption is going to be big. So since then, has the on-ground implementation of digital payments and banking services really worked for these MSMEs or not? Sumit, I'd like your take first.
Sure. So I would say yes, and it has definitely impacted. I'll give one more example of that. For example, online stores or digital presence to take orders. So that is along with the payments and the financial activities that the businesses have started doing online. They've also started to think and have their online stores for individually, right? Because when the pandemic hits or something like this happens, they know that that will be the mechanism to take the orders and at least continue running their business. So I would say yes, that has definitely had a positive impact. And there is an uptake in not only the payments or the financial services that they use on a day-to-day basis, but also being present online to start selling themselves online, So that's my perspective on that.
Sure. Anand, what about you?
Yeah, actually, the digital payment has been a blessing during these times, and especially the fact that 115 million debit cards expired in November 19. People were able to use AEPS on our network and access banking services, which are largely to do with the government subsidy and normal ATM cash withdrawals. While cards provided to millions through the Jan Dhan went dead, NPCI's own platform of AEPS came as a backup. So it's a demonstration of a global demonstration of a BCP from same platform of NPCI, that when ATM works or does not work, India does not stop. So, of course, the new Shunya movement, if I may say, in the history of world payment coming from India, UPI has been the poster boy of digital payments world over. Interestingly, all 5 payment rails we have integrated on PayNearby, and it is available to our retailers. We were one of the first providers of soft POS, enabling with NPCI RuPay on our platform, the micro POS physical one, the card not present module to do link-based payment, Aadhaar Pay, or UPI QR. So all 5 tracks have been embedded into this, and reaching through our distribution, it enables people to, one said, that people can order to our retailers, get delivery at home, or they can come to the counter, scan QR, and be done with the payments or withdrawal of cash or multiple services that are available.
Anand, I wanted to ask you this specific question. Recently, I read about how the MCA extended its deadline for companies to use accounting software. So Anand, what do you think? Do you think this deadline for MSMEs to use accounting software with audit trail features are going to push them towards digital adoption?
See, digital is a great platform for people who believe and see the benefit out of it. The fact that digital visible gets you a credibility augmentation and gets you loans so easily, it's a no-brainer that one should work on digital platform. Now, the question of audit trail in accounting platforms, we all know that the accounting platforms, the way they have been built, are more for users so that their errors, omissions are removed later. But I think these are larger good platforms, and the intent of government is benign to bring people onto the platform, and hence the timelines have been extended. Like you would see in GST, it's not far behind. People who don't use GST are actually missing something, because they A, miss input credit benefit, and B, they are not part of the digital whole. Fact that today lending is being done with alternate data, these data would feed into enable lending to them. So I think one should not shy away from it.
Sumit, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so just to add what Anand mentioned, right? So if you look at the audit trial rule that was brought by MCA last year, right? And then it was postponed for a year. So first of all, I think important thing to understand is this was for primarily the private limited companies, limited, and the LLPs. It was not for all the MSMEs. And more than 94-95% MSMEs do not fall in that segment. When you talk about the complete spectrum of the MSME, which we call as 63 million MSMEs in India, right? So that is one point. Another is accounting softwares maintaining audit trial. I think it should anyway be there in all the accounting softwares or all the platforms, because that also gives the visibility to the businessman to understand what changes are happening. Though they might not use everything, but anyway, that should be part of it. If you look at why government is trying to do that, I think that's the bigger benefit of making sure that both sides have a complete visibility of the changes that are being made. So I would say, and again, another point I want to add is that though the government has done it, brought it only for the private limited, and the LLPs right now, but it might come down the value chain, and it might come to the other segments of the MSME sector as well. So I would say using accounting software is definitely very, very critical and useful for the business, considering they understand the usage of it. Maintaining audit trial is anyway beneficial for all of them. It's just that in India, a lot of things happen by force and not by choice. So that's the only difference. Otherwise, I think it is no-brainer that we should have it. So if you look at any accounting softwares across the world, like QuickBooks or Zoho or Xero or any products that are existing, right? They all have audit trial as one of the capabilities in the product.
Anand, Sumit made a very interesting point here. He said that a large section of MSMEs may not come under this framework that's specified by the MCA. So do you think there are still some MSMEs that want to continue using cash and not be accountable, since their sales or businesses may have been badly hit and may not recover? So how does this affect the digital payments providers, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 towns?
Yeah, all the more reason that if the businesses are hit, one must come onto digital, because it brings a lot of efficiency. You will relate that digital payments beyond fashion has now become a compulsion. Yeah, you will relate again that there were times when a calculator-based printout receipt, which only carried the transaction amount, was deemed to be digitization at a retail counter, and they felt, yes, my shop has been computerized. The shop owners felt good about it. Today, UPI QR presence at the shop is a pride for a lot of them, and beyond pride, it is a convenience for the customer. The fact that I mentioned about digital visible data, it helps them to access loan. Look at PayNearby, for example. We have terabytes of data. We launched last month lending with our partnership and with Centrum Microfinance, and it has a terrific uptake. A lot of people have been able to utilize this platform and seek loan because their banking records were not updated, but our platform has a proof of truth in the form of data, because each transaction goes into a banking record. So this data has been harnessed, and important again that digital brings speed to a commerce. instead of cash, one would need to go to a bank to deposit and then go to procure, or take cash to a distributor supplier and then get cash from him, goods from him. Here, the moment you receive money, you are able to pass it on to the supplier and get goods coming to you physically faster. So I don't think this is a matter of choice, and the people who are hit, this is a panacea for them at this moment.
Yeah, Anand, absolutely agree with that. Sumit, I want to ask the next question to you, because we've spoken so much about the importance of digital payments and accounting solutions in building credit worthiness, right, for MSMEs. So in the past 1 year since the pandemic has hit us, how has this relevance in building credit worthiness changed? And how has it affected some of the NBFC and bank offerings of loans?
So I would say because of the pandemic, right? The market has become so much fragile that NBFCs and the banks, the trust of those NBFCs and the banks to show the credit or to actually disburse the loans, that has reduced, and that challenge is that definitely there. And these NBFCs or the banks, they always work on the credit worthiness, and that credit worthiness has gone down because we don't know what's going to happen next. There is a lot of uncertainty in the market. Because of that, I'm pretty sure that businesses are facing challenges in raising capital for their business. So this part is definitely there, and I think there is a negative impact. But so in the long run, it will start going into their favor. But currently, until that situations don't settle down, this will continue to be a challenge for the MSMEs.
Yeah, I would like to add to what Sumit said. Look at the new to credit segment. Banks would not have data, NBFCs would not have data for them. And here is a platform like Nearby Technologies, which has built terabytes of databases, true transactions going to the proof of truths on the banking side. So these as alternate data, what we call them as Bharosa score, credibility score, not credit score. These are being harnessed by our partners to online to our retail partners. And this brings a lot of efficiency with alternate data. And I would doubt any bank or NBFC would not like to use these efficiencies in these times.
Yeah, so adding on to what Anand said, I think similarly like platforms like Vyapar, right, where people are entering their day-to-day transactions, even though the business has got little impacted, but still whatever transactions are happening, they are recording everything on the products like Vyapar, right? So that again adds up to the total data set that is required by NBFCs or the banks to actually measure the credit worthiness of the business. So I think it's an ecosystem that is being developed for an MSME around payments, banking, accounting softwares, everything, which will together build into a common data set that can be used to increase their creditworthiness and help them raise capital for their business.
Sumit, I just want to dig a little deeper there. So earlier you mentioned that in the future, all of this digital adoption and building creditworthiness is going to pay off, right? So in terms of strengthening finance and lending for MSMEs, please explain how does it still make sense when MSMEs are just so unsure of the future?
See, the reason why it makes sense is because obviously there is a lot of unsurety, but it doesn't mean that things will not improve or things will not change. With the vaccination and everything coming into place, we know and we believe very strongly that this pandemic is going to slow down, and then it will basically go off completely. Probably it might take from 6 months to 1 year or even 1.5 years, but it will go off, right? So that's why this data that is being accumulated, this will start getting used at that time. That even if the business was low, at that time also they were able to do X amount of transactions. Now, when the things start opening up, then obviously this will become double or triple. So that's how what I meant from that. As pandemic gets reduced and the effect gets reduced, this data will be getting used at the time when they start actually raising the capital for the business.
Anand, would you like to jump in here?
Yes, it's a brilliant point, Rishabh. Self-doubt does cloud the users and makes one ponder that if one should actually take a loan with beating on the business front, with a consumption cycle on a tempered, muted prudence, if I may say, as an individual, conservative mode of consumptions like cinema hall, malls, restaurant, tourism, travel, retailing, apparel, auto, all of them are on muted mode, and it will take a while to ramp up. And I hear the auto industry has started chugging along in today's news release. But fact that these all MSMEs are aligned to any of these 8-10 industries which are large earth movers, I would believe that one would rise beyond the slow growth, and yahi mati ubhregi, yahi zarra chamkega. Someone has said that the zid aage badhne ki moment that we believe at PayNearby is what will drive India to the next orbit. And inshallah, we shall come out of it.
Yes, Anand, and I think we all have hope here. And I think we've also spoken a lot about the MSME's perspective of the future. But now I want to ask you both about the lender side of things. So it's very difficult to estimate the number of MSMEs that have shut because of the pandemic. So how does the lending industry view this when they are doing risk assessment for future lending? And how does this impact NPAs and loan recoveries going forward? Sumit?
So to be honest, I haven't seen that very closely, but my perspective on this is that this is again a matter of time. So today, obviously, the default. I don't think the defaults is a problem, because as soon as the market opens, these businesses who are shut down or who have slowed down will again come back to the light, and they will start running again, right? So if you look at the overall number, like every 10 years. Every 1 year, 1 million new businesses come up. This is minus the ones that get shut down, right? In the last 10 years, in 2008, 2009, there were around 52 million businesses. In 2019, 2020, we are talking about 63 million businesses. So every 10 years, around 10 million businesses come up, minus the ones that get shut down. So in this pandemic also, obviously, I mean, there will be a shutdown will be more. But once the things open up, this number will again jump up. So that is one. Second, the risk assessment. Yes, the risk is more, and that's the reason why we talked about that the NBFCs and the banks have slowed down the process of disbursing loans, or and they have make this process a little more stringent. But I think as market opens up, this will again come back to the normal normal phase how it was earlier.
Anand, your thoughts?
Yeah, the recent check bounce data published by RBI have a cue to worry about, that the numbers are discouraging on one hand. But on other hand, at our PayNearby outlets, we help about 52 NBFC and microfinance companies to collect EMIs every month. About 450 crore of EMI is deposited at our network. Sachetized 700 rupee, 1200 rupee of Hero FinCorp, Bajaj FinServe, L&T Finance, their customers would come and deposit. That has seen no impact. Let me tell you that people who want to pay at in tier 2, 3, 4 beyond towns, where the economies are much more balanced, they are not very consumerism oriented, they are not very impulsive. So there is the texture there is that of depth and prudence. So people do not spend money unnecessarily. They do not. They borrow with wisdom if they are able to pay in good or bad times. So we see that data has been only growing in the last lockdown period. That since when we have added these partners on our platform. So there does not seem to be much of a worry. And look, what choice do banks have or NBFCs have with raw material in the form of liability generated and stocked up in your godown? You are paying interest for that, unless you are able to consume it into asset and off-lend to right people. So there is a huge pressure, and right methods are being applied to balance the two sides of business. It would continue.
I would like to add one more point. If you compare the last pandemic, that was April 2020, and this year pandemic, which is May 2021, most of the states were under lockdown earlier as well, and this time as well. But in April 2020, the impact to the businesses was 70%. So only 30% of the businesses, business was done in India based on Vyapar's platform data, right? And while in May 2021, it was 70% running, only 30% down. So India is a very resilient country, and the people in India are highly resilient. So they figure out a way to survive and to keep running,
Yeah. Thanks, Sumit. And on that positive note, we've reached the end of the panel. So thanks once again, Sumit. Thank you, Anand. It's always great talking to you both. You both are champions of the MSME ecosystem, and we hope you're able to bring many, many more retailers and businesses together in their digital transformation journeys. Thank you. And with that, we come to the end of this session. A big thank you to all the panelists for joining us today and the viewers for joining us in the show. We hope you were able to take away some useful insights on how SMBs can adopt digital solutions to future-proof their business. Before signing off, here's a special shout out to Lenovo and Intel, our title sponsors for India MSME Summit 2021, and our co-sponsors AWS and TransUnion Sybil for helping us make the event a success. Thank you.